Hi, this is Brad Miller, founder of Runestone Interactive and professor of computer science at Luther College. So today I'd like to go through another short screencast on the topic of writing your own assignments. That is, adding questions to your assignments that you have written yourself. All right, and so we can get to that through this problem in this problem section by clicking on the right tab, or as we'll see in a bit, it's also possible to edit an existing question. So let's click on the right tab. What this does is it brings up a list for you of the possible kinds of questions that you can add to the assignment. All right, and at this point, I want to take just a short detour to the Doc tab and show you what I think is kind of a nice, is kind of a handy resource for you in this respect. So if we go to the Doc tab here, and I'm going to open this in a new page, I'm going to bring you to this overview page. I'll open that in a new tab. And so this is a page that shows you working examples of all of the different kinds of questions that you might add to an assignment. Right? This one here just shows an active code. And the nice thing about all of these is that if you click on the Show Source button, you can see the restructured text that's required to add an active code question to an assignment. So lots of different kinds of questions that you can choose from here. And again, all of them have the source. So the drag and drop here, we can show the source for that. I'll reset it. You see, it's actually very easy to write a matching question like this. Right? We just say we can have up to 20 different things to match. We can put what's going to appear here in this left column in text to the left, and then 3 vertical bars, and the stuff that we want to appear on the right that it should match correctly up to. And when it's rendered, then it looks like this. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go back to our assignment here and see what we can do. So if we want to write a new question, now we can click on here. Let's click on that drag and drop link. Let's click go, and you'll see that this fills in some boilerplate for us here, and we'll edit that up a little bit. So one important thing to keep in mind is that all of the questions that you might want to add on your own need to have a unique identifier. And so maybe you want to include your initials, or maybe you want to somehow incorporate your course name into the identifier. Here we'll just say D&D BNM video demo will be our unique identifier for this. Okay, this is some feedback. All right, and that's an optional thing. We don't have to provide feedback. Let's just say we want to do something kind of silly like let's match up the names of newspapers to the cities that they're published in. Won't be too hard. And one more. Let's go with the New York Times. And it's in New York. Get rid of that. The question is, match each newspaper to the city where it's published. Okay, so there we've got our question. Now we need to generate the HTML for this so that we can preview it, so that it can be incorporated into assignments, etc., and so that we can make sure that we haven't gotten any syntax problems with our with our source. So here you can see we did a pretty good job. We don't have any errors, or the error messages would have shown, would have been included there in the somewhere within this widget. And so that's ready to go. And now we can say we want to give this 5 points, and we can click on the Save and Add button. Oh, and it pops up. Okay, we got to assign a chapter to this as well. So which chapter are we working on? Oh, let's just say we're still in the general introduction. So we'll save and add. Yep, I have generated. So we want to make sure that we've got that HTML, and the question's been created successfully. And sure enough, you can see that it appears in our list here. All right. So recognizing that the boilerplate for all these is maybe a little bit intimidating. This page over here might be more helpful for you to just get kind of the gist or the basics of what you need to create a simple question. Okay. Now if we go back to the course and we click on this assignment page here, of course now I forgot. Where did I put that question? Not there. I think I just put it on the one that was at the top of the list. Yep, there it is. So there it is. There's my question right in the context of the rest of the questions that I've already added. And so if I'm a student, I can go ahead and do these. Okay, so another way that you might do this is to go into the problems and just say, oh, I'd like to take an existing question and just modify it a little bit. So here's an old favorite, converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, but maybe we want to do something different with it. So let's say that we just want to change the text on this, and let's change it so that we're converting from Fahrenheit to Kelvin. All right, so this is a good time to maybe say a little bit more about the language that we're writing these questions in. It's called restructured text. It's a markup language. It shares quite a bit with Python in that indentation is important. So in the body of the question here, we have to have things indented at least 3 spaces so that they're lined up with the beginning of the name of our directive here. These 4 tildes separate the text of the question from any sample code or any code that you might want to give your students to give them a head start. So maybe we say F is equal to input, enter degrees Fahrenheit here, and then put a comment, your code here. Okay. Now it's also very important when you are editing a question to make sure that you give it a new name. All right, so I'm just going to append my initials to this so that it now has a unique identifier. Just like we did before, we want to generate and view the HTML code, so you can see that our new question is in place. And once we have finished that, we can click on the Save Edits button, and it will tell us that our question is saved. Now, to add it, this is the part that's a little bit awkward and that we're going to need to be working on making this a little smoother for you all here over the course of the semester. Right now we've got to go find that question so that we can add it. So EX211 BNM, we can search for it. Now we get that. We'll make it worth 5 points, and we can add it to the assignment. So yeah, it would be nice if we could make that a little bit smoother, and I recognize that, and so hopefully that will improve shortly here. Okay, once again, if we go back to our course, go to our assignments, go to this one, right? And here we go. We can do show code, and there's the code that we had entered ready ready for us to go. Okay, so hopefully that will inspire you and encourage you to add your own questions to assignments that you make. Ultimately, we hope that we can generate a really large bank of questions that are contributed by all the different instructors that are using the Runestone tools all around the world, and so I do encourage you to do that and to be willing to share your good assignments, and hopefully that will lead to some other new developments for us to help you find and kind of sort through and do a good job of kind of developing lots of varied practice problems for your students. So thanks for listening, and thanks for using Runestone.